Hey everyone, Tori here, and it's time for some Spyro related content. Yes, I've had my little break from Spyro and it felt good just to do Let's Plays and live streams for a while, but with Reignited just around the corner, I'm excited to talk about the plucky purple dragon once again. So a question that popped up frequently in my live streams was what's my favourite realm or collection of realms? And believe me when I say frequently is an understatement. I swear this came up every hour of every Spyro live stream. So instead of repeating myself in a few weeks when I livestream Reignited, I thought I'd do a video on just this topic. So today I present you with my top 10 favourite realms from the original Spyro Trilogy. Now a few things I want to mention before I start. Firstly, I'm not just basing my choices on the design of the realm, but also on the fun factor, the characters and enemies that inhabit it, the minigames if that applies, and so on. It could just be for one of these reasons, or it could be a multitude. And the more boxes the realm ticks, the higher it'll end up on the list. Unless my favouritism for certain realms gets the better of me. Hee hee. Lastly, it's important to note and stress the point that these are my favourite realms. I'm not saying these are the best realms in the entire OG trilogy, just that I myself have a fondness for them. More than likely you enjoy different realms to the ones I pick, and I'd love to hear which is your favourite realm, or maybe top 3 if it's too hard to choose one. Let me know in the comments section, and tell me what you love about it also. Anyway, enough babbling, let us get into this video starting with number 10, which will be Desert Ruins from Spyro 3. So I'm sure a lot of you have a big what going through your head right now. Desert Ruins admittedly is a fairly forgettable realm. The design is okay, but nothing special. The giant scorpions are creepy to look at with their glowing orange eyes and pointy teeth, but they're no more terrifying than, say, the snowmen from Frozen Altars. And then there's the mediocre at best minigames. So if I have so many negative points to make, why did I place Desert Ruins at number 10? Well, for one reason, and one reason alone. Tara. Hey, I said it could just be one reason for why I choose a realm, don't hate me. So anyone who knows me even a little bit probably knows how big a fan I am of the old Tomb Raider games, and how much I adore OG Lara Croft. I know, yeah, it's not Lara herself, just an imitation, but 8-year-old me didn't care. It was Lara as far as I was concerned. Also, to finish off, let's just remember that hilarious line Lara spouts, which is basically a dig at the early Tomb Raider games. In fact, I think I can pull it off, let's just give it a go. I spent all day pressing switches and shoving boxes around, and you just waltz in here expecting to claim the treasure. Well, you might as well have it. It only turned out to be a lousy egg anyway. Okay, I can't quite pull it off, but you get the idea. Moving on to number 9, and we have Stone Hill from Spyro 1. This might seem like an odd choice to some, I'm just hipster and have to be different, but I love pretty much everything about this realm. I'd like to mention that my first experience of Spyro was playing the demo, which only contained 2 realms, this and Dark Hollow. While the latter was a decent realm, I preferred the bright and vibrant colours of Stone Hill over Dark Hollow's moody nighttime gloom. I mean, look at those lush meadows and rolling hills. Secondly, I prefer the ram and shepherd enemies of Stone Hill. The animations and noises both made, such as the rams standing up on their hind legs and shrugging, or the shepherds goading Spyro into attacking them, had me in fits of laughter as a kid. I was 6, okay? Simple things please simple minds. The final thing that makes me love Stone Hill is being able to leave the main area and run along the hills. Sure, it doesn't seem like much compared to today's grand level designs, and there was an invisible barrier stopping me from charging off into the horizon, but being able to travel out of bounds, as it were, felt revolutionary. The only reason this doesn't come higher up in my list is because it's a pretty basic realm when compared to others in the same game. It doesn't take that long to beat, and as bright and vibrant as it is, there's not much else going for it. At number 8, we have Charmed Ridge from Spyro 3. I know this isn't a very popular one, but I have my reasons, so hear me out. Firstly, it involves fairies, and I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I love fairies. Especially the ones from the Spyro Trilogy. Well, except Zoe. She's evil incarnate. So an entire realm that's home to sparkly fairies is always going to get a thumbs up from me, but then it one-ups itself by adding in the cat wizards of Felinia. I love these guys. They only make an appearance in this one realm, but everything from the way they look, to the mischief they get up to the sounds they make when Spyro defeats them, kid me thought it was hilarious. Next up is the design of Charmed Ridge. I've always been drawn to anything fantastical and dreamlike, and this realm reminds me so much of the Dreamweaver realms from Spyro 1, also firm favourites of mine. The skybox is a deep sunset orange, the mountains surrounding the towers are bathed in soft pink, and these colours are in turn contrasted by the pool of blue ooze that fills the majority of Charmed Ridge. But perhaps my favourite thing about this realm is that the goal you set out to accomplish turns out to be a huge misunderstanding. While the fairies assume their Princess Amy is being forced to marry that loser Prince Azrael, the truth is the two are very much in love and plan to elope. The only thing that lets Charmed Ridge down is the minigames. One is mediocre at best, and the other is downright terrible. I won't go into too much detail, as I'm probably going to have a minigame video at some point, but I'll just say right now, cat witches can suck on my big flappy penguin feet. At number 7, we have Enchanted Towers, again from Spyro 3. I was seriously debating whether to include this one, as I couldn't decide whether I liked it enough, but I think the positives far outweigh the negatives. So the first thing I noticed when visiting Enchanted Towers as a kid was the creepy green monsters flying about the place. I have no idea what they're supposed to be, the Spyro Wiki lists them as flying geckos, but what I do know is they're absolutely terrifying to look at least to 8-year-old me they were. Coupled with the fact that they can only be taken out with molten rocks or Sergeant Bird's rocket launchers, and they in turn can spit fire back at the two heroes, you can see why they freaked me out and why this realm was so memorable to me. The next thing I noticed on first playthrough was all the Outer Reach treasure. I assumed there must have been some sort of flying power-up, or whirlwind magic to give Spyro a boost. So it was a pleasant surprise to find out Sergeant Bird got even greater freedom over the realm than Spyro did, able to fly to all these Outer Reach towers and collect the treasure. Every other minigame in Spyro 3 takes place in a completely separate area, so to be able to fly over Enchanted Towers itself and get a penguin's eye view is pretty darn awesome if you ask me. The skateboard free-for-all and rescuing the lost wolf Farley aren't bad minigames either, and collecting the 8 bones being chewed on by lava toads will make 2 old friends very happy. Everyone loves a cameo. Now, there are a few reasons why Enchanted Towers didn't place higher up on the list. The first being, if you don't count flying around as Sergeant Bird, it's a very short realm to traverse. Secondly, the musical score for this realm is incredibly disappointing, given it's just Sergeant Bird's theme repeated. That's not to say I don't enjoy it, but I was hoping for something more mystical, or maybe even industrial given the subject matter at hand. Lastly, and this is rather petty if I'm being honest, I cannot forgive the realm for making my ears bleed while I blew up the sorceress's statue. Heading on to number 6, and I'm going to choose Metropolis from Spyro 2. Honestly, it was a toss-up between this realm and Robotica Farms, but there were a few things that bugged me about the latter. Bugged. This realm gets a placement alone because of its robot inhabitants. I mean, come on, robots are cool, and if you don't like them, you're just lying to yourself. Except our robot overlords. And not only do we have civilized robots going about their daily business, we also have revolting farm animals. That's revolting as in fighting back. I'm not saying they're disgusting, though the robots might think so. This place seems very clean, and I can imagine farm animals make an awful lot of poop. Travelling through the city of Metropolis was certainly an experience the first time I played, and I was definitely not expecting to come across laser gun wielding space cows, suicidal rocket pigs, and flying UFO sheep. Not only is Metropolis funky to look at, its inhabitants hilarious and its enemies out of this world, but the realm ups the wow factor even more by adding in a new device for Spyro to use, the double power-up gate. Up until now, gates only contained one power-up, Supercharge, Super Flame, Superfly, and so on. This new gate combines the powers of Super Flame and Superfly into one power-up, giving Spyro the ability to take out those annoying UFOs once and for all. The other thing that made this realm memorable was that final reinforced box. Now, bear in mind I had neither access to the internet nor a handy guidebook at my side. I had to rely on my trusty 7-year-old brain to do all the work. Figuring out I could use the power-up gate, fly back through the elevator shaft, and destroy the reinforced box with Super Flame was honestly a great moment for me. You know when you're frustrated because you're stuck on a puzzle for ages, and then it just suddenly clicks, you do exactly what you need to do, and then you pat yourself on the back for being so smart? Yeah, it was one of those moments. The only reason Metropolis didn't make it into the top 5 was because of that bloody ox fight. Sure, I know how to cheese it now, but back in 1999, I was frustrated, fed up, and crying my eyes out because I kept dying. I think my brother had to finish it for me in the end. Moving into the top 5, and we have SKELOS BADLANDS, once again from Spyro 2. This was the first realm of the game that truly made me go, wow. I mean, what is there not to love? You've got lava everywhere, dinosaurs, flying lizards, fire monsters, adorable little cavemen, a dancing skeleton dude. You can even activate the invincibility gates and walk across the lava like the fiery little badass you are. This is a nostalgic realm for many people, and I'm quite sure a few of you will say it's the #1 realm of the entire trilogy. I think what helps drive this popularity is the fact it's the first realm people see when they enter Autumn Plains, which further cements it in their memory. You're looking around, admiring the trees and listening to that calming music. You might take a dip in the pool in front of you, and as you climb out you come face to face with this large, menacing orange portal that reads SKELOS BADLANDS. I mean, even the name sounds metal. Who wouldn't be drawn to that? Another small detail I'd like to point out is the 2 giant skulls found at the beginning and end of the realm. Don't they bear a resemblance to the stone dragon head found in Spyro 1's Artisan homeworld? Yay for more nostalgia! The only thing I can really fault with SKELOS BADLANDS, and I'm sure you guys know what I'm gonna say, yep, it's the dinosaur minigame. Oh boy, the less said about that the better. At number 4, we have Fireworks Factory from Spyro 3, another fondly remembered realm of mine, and for many other people I'm sure. I don't even know where to start with this one. There are so many great things about it, and it's always an awesome realm to come back to for nostalgia's sake. So firstly, let's talk about that awesome cameo from popular characters Handel and Greta. Okay, I'm actually quite freaked out by these two after that happened in Spyro 2's Scorch Realm, but I'm always a sucker for cameos, and hey, at least they're still on my side. Also, Greta goes all Matrix on the Rhinox at the end of the realm, which is friggin' awesome! Speaking of which, Fireworks Factory is infested with ninjas. Yes, ninjas. I thought the robots of Spyro 2's METROPOLIS were awesome enough, so imagine my surprise as a kid when I fought against these guys. Oh, and when I thought it couldn't get any more badass, the game threw 2 Eastern-inspired dragons at me, which requires the use of the double power-up gate to defeat them. Oh, and the power-up is permanent till you leave the area, so you can fly around and shoot fireballs to your heart's content. Seriously, as an 8-year-old kid, mind blown. And of course, I can't finish talking about Fireworks Factory without mentioning the Agent 9 Doom-inspired minigame. It was actually only recently, during the stream I did a few months ago in fact, that you guys told me about the skill point which gives you the special gun. And oh my goodness, that breathed new life into the minigame for me. I mean, it's not like it wasn't fun enough before, but I think it's awesome that even after 20-ish years, I'm still finding out new things about these Spyro games that I never knew before, and I have you guys to thank for that, so big hugs! Moving into the top 3, and we have Lofty Castle from Spyro 1. This is what I meant when I said Stonehill was basic compared to other realms. Lofty Castle has so much going for it. Firstly, Spyro's main goal is rescuing the fairies that have been captured by the Norks. As I said before, I love all the fairies in the Spyro Trilogy, and given that they've saved Spyro's butt on a number of occasions in the first game, such as stopping him from falling to his death in high caves, and by literally saving his progress, I was more than happy to give them a helping hand. Freeing them is necessary in order to progress further through the realm, as the fairies will use their magic to give Spyro a lift to new areas. A gameplay mechanic unique to Lofty Castle, which again makes the realm stand out and places it as a firm favourite of mine. Then there's the gorgeous colour palette. I mean, just look at that skybox. Purples, pinks, oranges, and throw in the odd distant planet or two. It's like the developers know my tastes. Then there's the beautiful white and gold architecture, bathed in pink from the atmosphere. Is there anything not to love in the design of Lofty Castle? Sorry, by the way, for sounding like a hoity-toity art snob. I just love this place so much. Then we have the hilarious enemies. I don't know what it is. There's just something about seeing a big fat Nork slowly floating up and down with his balloon in hand that makes me chuckle, even to this day. I think, to be honest, if I hadn't played the Spyro series as a kid, a lot of the stuff I mention in this list wouldn't have had as big an impact on me. I'd probably look at the Nork balloonist guy, for example, and think, huh, cool. But because I have those memories from my childhood, and enemies like this guy made me laugh hysterically, I was 6, okay? That's what helps place these realms, and especially Lofty Castle, so high. Sorry if that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, it sounded better in my head. The last thing I want to briefly touch upon is Lofty Castle's wonderful theme. Now, out of all the Spyro 1 themes, some I don't remember at all, others I can vaguely piece together in my head, but Lofty Castle's theme is the only one I can pretty much remember from start to finish, and I honestly think it's one of Stuart Copeland's best themes in the entire trilogy, and once again helps cement this realm in my mind, so yay for good music! And at number 2, our runner-up is going to be Dark Passage, again from Spyro 1. Words cannot describe how much I love this realm. First off, there's this whole dark and light aesthetic. Now, if you've heard me rambling on during one of my horror game sessions, you'll know that even now as an adult, I'm pretty terrified of the dark. Okay, maybe not as bad as I used to be, but certainly as a kid and growing up, being in a pitch black room or being outside in the dark freaked me out to no end. And like a lot of people with phobias, it wasn't necessarily the dark itself that scared me, but what could potentially be in the dark. Which is why Dark Passage sticks so firmly in my brain and is one of my favourite realms to explore. When you first land in Dark Passage, you come across these cute little dog and turtle critters. Nothing too threatening about that, might give you a nasty nip, but oh my god, what is that? I'm assuming that's how pretty much everyone reacted playing through Dark Passage for the first time. Yep, those annoying little lantern guys like to mess around with Spyro, blowing out the lantern's light, which in turn morphs these cute little critters into hulking, devilish monstrosities. And I don't know what's creepier, their appearance alone, or watching the devil dogs grab a hold of Spyro, chew him up a bit, and then spit him back out. Ooh. Freaky demon critters aside, the realm itself is very well designed. Given that Dark Passage is one of the nightmare realms of the Dreamweaver's homeworld, it makes sense that the realm itself is a twisting maze of tunnels, caves and mountainsides, with a deadly pool of ooze making up the floor of the main area. Don't fall in, okay? It's easy to get lost in here, at least I do every single time I play this one, and you'll frequently find yourself running back and forth, trying to work out how to reach that last bunch of gems just over that impossible to fly chasm, which admittedly is the reason it didn't quite make number 1 for me. Too many times spent pulling my hair out trying to 100% Dark Passage. Still, it's definitely one I'm looking forward to playing in Reignited. And finally, number 1, for me it has to be Mystic Marsh from Spyro 2. Saying I love this realm is a massive understatement. Words cannot describe how awesome I think this realm is, and as an adult, I think I appreciate it even more in terms of design. The first thing I always notice when I land in Mystic Marsh is just how muted the place is. Up until now in Spyro 2, most of the realms were quite bright and vibrant. Mystic Marsh, however, is very dull in comparison, mainly comprising of a brown and grey colour palette. There isn't even a proper skybox, it's just this sort of Silent Hill-like fog and mist. But then you take a look at the enemies and what the heck is going on? We've got snail elephants and rhinos, with the former even somehow managing to tuck themselves into their tiny shells. Seriously, how does that work? And that's not all. We have the purple striped monkeys, the kangaroo thieves, and even some platypus pufferfish monstrosity. It's like the island of Dr. Moreau, if you splice different animals together rather than animals and humans. Personally, I think the realm's drabness works well with the wacky creatures you come across. If the realm was as colourful and vibrant as, say, Zephyr or something, I don't think it would have stood out in my mind, and a lot of the crazy animal designs could have been washed out in the chaos. I don't know, I'm not a designer of any sort, but that's why it works for me personally. There's one other thing I have to mention, and that is, in my opinion, one of the best minigames in the entire trilogy. As far as I can remember, I don't think there's been anything in the Spyro series quite like the Professor's Pencil minigame. And bearing in mind again, I first played this at a time when I had no access to the internet or a nifty guidebook, working this out by myself made me feel like, I don't know, like I had intelligence on par with that of Einstein or something. Overall, I think Mystic Marsh is one of the best realms in the entire Spyro trilogy in every aspect, and I seriously cannot wait to play through it when Reignited comes out. So that's my top 10 favourite realms from the original Spyro trilogy. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and as I said, I'd love to hear what your favourite realms are, so leave a comment down below telling me which you think are awesome. Also, if you're interested, I do actually have a Discord channel where my viewers and I talk about Spyro stuff amongst other things. I've put a link in the description for anyone who wants to join. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like as it really helps me out. And before I go, shout out to my biggest Patreon supporters, Razak, Albert Rodriguez, Austin Rosenbaum, Thomas Hinton, Ross Ward, and Frosty Dragon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in whatever I play or talk about next. Bye bye!